Namaskar everyone and welcome to day 17 of our Dhanurmasa Satsang. Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Natha Yamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyuta Padambuja Yugma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmad Gurur Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye Apadamapahārtāram Dātāram Sarvasampadam लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम् कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेत सादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना. Yesterday we had seen up to the point where Lakshmana does Sharanagati to Rama, and now it is decided that Lakshmana, Rama, and Sita will all together set out for Vanavas. So, with prayers at the lotus feet of the Acharyas and Lord Rama, let us continue our story for today. So once they decide that okay, now all three of them are going to go to Vanavas, they decide that they have to seek Dashratha's blessings before they leave. And as Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana are walking through the streets to reach Dashratha's palace, people are watching them. Everybody has come to know the news by now. Everybody is weeping, they are in tears, and they are calling out to Rama and Sita and Lakshmana and saying, please don't go, please don't leave us here and go like this. It is not correct of the Raja to do this. And so on and so forth. People are all crying and weeping. And there, Valmiki comments about how it is so sad because this Rama has so many good qualities and now he is being banished to the forest. So, in describing the qualities of Rama, Valmiki Rishi says, Andrishamsyam Anukroshaha Shrutam Sheelam Damashamaha Raghavam Shobhayanti Ete Shadgunaha Purusha Uttamam. So, he has all these 6 Uttama Purusha Gunas. What are these? Harmlessness, not doing harm to anybody else, compassion for everybody, learning, he has knowledge, he is good natured, he has self control, and he is tranquil and calm at all times. So, these 6 gunas, they are actually the lakshana of any kind of a Purusha who is an Uttama Purusha. And these are the qualities that Rama has in him. So, here, an Uttama Purusha, Acharyas give the explanation for who is the Uttama Purusha. So, there are people who are Adhama Purushas, there are people who are Madhyama Purusha, and there are people who are Uttama Purusha. So, Adhama is somebody who wants his own good at all costs. Never mind, he will often cause harm to other people, but he wants good for himself, even if it comes at the cost of troubling other people. That is the Adhama Purusha. Madhyama Purusha are the category of people who say that live and let live. I want my life to be good. I will not harm anybody else. I will let other people do their thing, but I will focus only on my benefit. Those are the kind of Madhyama Purusha. But who is the Uttama Purusha? It is somebody who is willing to take trouble for oneself so that other people are happy, so that other people don't have to suffer. And this is the quality of Rama. Why? He has all these gunas in him and he is also an Uttama Purusha. Because now he has taken it upon himself that father has given his word to Kaikeyi, I have to keep up that word. So he is not bothered about whether it is right or wrong, whether it is going to be troublesome for him or it is going to be difficult for him. He is going to make sure that he will keep his father's word. He will make sure that Kaikeyi is made happy by taking those steps which he has predicted. Right? So this is why Rama is called as an Uttama Purusha. Now, they are crying, but as these people reach the palace, there also, Dasharatha had 350 queens other than Kausalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. All those queens have also come there. All people everywhere, except for Kaikeyi. Everyone else in that palace is weeping and lamenting. Now, even Sumantra, he is also so moved by this, sad sight that he also talks very harshly to Kaikeyi, and he reminds her that, see, your mother also had behaved like this. You remember we talked about that mother of Kaikeyi who had demanded that her husband should tell her what those birds were saying, even if he had to die. She was not bothered. So now Sumantra says, honey does not ooze out from a neem tree. That is what he tells. That if there is a neem, we know neem tree is giving out bitter things, right? So if there is a neem tree, can anybody ever expect that honey will come out of that tree? No, it will only give out that neem juice, which is also going to be bitter. So Sumantra is trying to say that, see, your mother was like that, you are also behaving like that. Why are you like this? Don't do this. But she is not listening. Another important minister called Siddhartha also tries to convince, but she doesn't listen to anybody. Then Dasharatha is very sad now. He says that if Rama is going, then I will send my army to protect him. Let all servants from the palace, everybody go to take care of him. Let the cooks go to prepare food for him. Let all the wealth be sent with him. Let all the resources be sent with him so that my Rama does not have to be suffering in the forest. He is a Rajkumara. He is my son. Why should he go like an ordinary tapasvi in the forest? How can he live in that bad conditions there, sleeping on the ground, not having clothes? All that he can't manage. So I will send all these facilities with him, Dasharatha says. But Rama refuses all of this. He says, if I'm going to Vanavas, then I have to live the life of an ascetic. So I cannot have all these comforts come along with me. Then the condition of Kaikeyi will not be fulfilled. So he refuses all that. Now, as all this discussion is going on, Kaikeyi has arranged for bark pieces to wear as clothes for all these three people. So she make sure that it is given to these people, and Rama and Lakshmana standing there only immediately. They discard all their royal clothing and all that, and they wear these bark clothes. But poor Sita, she has never ever worn such clothes. She doesn't know what to do, and she's looking around helplessly what to do. So Rama only helps her, and he teaches her how that bark garment is to be worn. And seeing this sad sight, Vasishta Rishi, see, Vasishta Rishi is a great, Rishi. He is somebody who is not going to be moved very easily. He is someone who has calmness and equanimity of mind. But even this Vasishta Rishi is terribly upset to see this Sita having to wear these clothes and go to the forest. So he tells that I don't want to let Sita not go to the forest. Whatever Kaikeyi has told, Rama is bent on following her words, and let him go. But Sita has to stay back here. Let her rule. We will make her the ruler of this Ayodhya, of this Kosala kingdom, and she need not go. Or if she is going, then all of us will also go. And then he says that Bharata will come back and he will hear all these things, and he is never going to be prepared to rule this kingdom. Then Rama and Sita, like Sita doesn't say anything, but Rama talks and he says that, no, it's okay. Anyway, she has decided she will come with me and like that. Then Vasishtha tells, at least let her not wear these clothes. It is so bad of to have to give up her garments and what she's always used to wearing, silk and all those other kind of comfortable clothes. How can she wear these bark garments? So he says, no, let her not wear that. Then Dasharatha sends people and he says, bring all the royal robes, bring all the ornaments for her, give it to Sita. And he makes her wear those clothes and insists that she should not wear those bark clothes. Now, all these three people, Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana, they get the blessings of Dasharatha, they get the blessings of Vasishta Guru, of all the elders who are there, their mothers, all those queens, and they start to leave. Now, at this moment of time, this Sumitra is Lakshmana's mother, right? So the Sumitra had been silently standing and watching all this happening. And at this moment, she steps forward and she says to Lakshmana, 1 minute, Lakshmana, I have something to tell you. Now, Lakshmana is suddenly shocked. You notice Rama has spoken to Kausalya, Rama has spoken to Sita, Lakshmana has spoken to Rama and Sita and said, I will come along. But he has not yet told his mother anything. There is nowhere it is described that Lakshmana went and took permission of Sumitra. All that mattered to him was that Rama should accept him and take him along with him. right? So now he's suddenly worried that what is this now? My mother has come here and she's saying she wants to say something. Is she going to make a scene now? Do I have to spend time and energy in convincing my mother, my own mother now? He wonders. But Sumitra has such a surprising point of view that not only that day all the people listening there, but forever and ever all the acharyas have said that she's such a great jnani and she's such a good person, the right kind of mother. Only this kind of mother could have given birth to somebody like Lakshmana and Shatrughna. So she blesses Lakshmana. She says, Vyasani va samriddho va gatir esha tava anagha esha loke satam dharmaha yaj jeshta vashago bhavet. O Anagha, O sinless one, whether in adversity or in riches, whether there are difficult times or there are good times, this brother of yours, he alone is your refuge. He is the only gati for you, right? It should become the code of conduct. By looking at your behavior, everybody in this world should realize that the younger brother is always to obey the elder brother. He should be under the control of the elder brother. That should become the code of conduct for the entire world by seeing your behavior. Then she continues forward and she says, you know, Lakshmana, I had been waiting for this day. This is what the moment that I have been waiting for. When I got those two portions of the payasa, here Acharyas explain, when Sumitra got those two portions of the payasam, she had prayed. You remember we talked about that. She prayed that she wants one son to do Kainkarya, to do Seva to Rama, and she wanted another son to do Seva to Bharata. And she says, now is the moment for you to make sure that the purpose of my life and your life is fulfilled. And this shloka which she says, which Valmiki puts here, is very famous, and it is said that this is the best gift that any mother could have given to her son. She says to Lakshmana, Ramam Dasharatham Viddhi, Mam Viddhi Janakatmajam, Ayodhyam Atavim Viddhi, Gachatata Yatha Sukham. You realize that Rama is Dasharatha. Look upon Rama as Dasharatha. Look upon Sita, who is the daughter of Janaka, as your own mother, as myself. And consider the forest itself as Ayodhya. And, oh my son, go happily with Rama and Sita. Can we even imagine what is the largeness of heart? What is the extreme level of detachment of this woman, that she is not saying that, oh, my son, he was not told to go to Vanavasa. Any ordinary mother, what she would have done? She would have tried to convince that boy, saying that, why are you going? It is not your destiny. Let Rama go. Raja has told him, why you are going? You be here. I don't want to send you. But what is Sumitra telling? She's saying, this is the day for which I gave birth to you. You go with Rama and serve him and Sita, and that is what is going to give you happiness in this world. And seeing you and your behavior, everybody in the world should realize that this is how younger brother should serve the elder brother. This is the bhava of Sumitra. Now, for this shloka, this where she's telling Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi, this shloka, this great acharya called Perivachan Pillai has given 6 explanations. There are 6 vyakhyanams which are given by Perivachan Pillai for this shloka. So, first we can say that maybe Sumitra is telling this thing, that consider Rama as Dasharatha, consider Sita as myself. Maybe she's telling based on worldly relations, like, because it is told in the Shastras that the elder brother is like the father. The wife is like the elder brother's wife is like one's own mother. So maybe she's telling on worldly relationship, she is basing her statement and she's telling like this. Then you can also see that maybe based on a practical sense she's telling. Like, because what Sumitra means is that once Rama goes off to the forest, your father is not going to survive. And if your father dies, then I will also not survive. Then when your father is not there and none of us are there, all of us are going to also be in agony and we will also die. Then this Ayodhya will become like a forest. So if this happens, then who are your parents? It's only Rama and Sita. So Rama will be your father, Sita will be your mother. And whichever forest they are, wherever they are, that is going to be Ayodhya for you. Because this Ayodhya will become like a forest in the future. Maybe she's telling like that. The third explanation that the Acharya gives is based on the jnana of Sumitra. You remember we said that this Sumitra is called as a Brahma Jnani. She had a jnana, she had the ability to look into the future. She was very wise compared to all the other wives, the other queens of Dasharatha. So she is predicting what is going to happen in the future. She is telling Lakshmana that, see, now Dasharatha has listened to his wife's words and he is sending Rama into the forest. In the future, when you people go to the forest, this Rama will listen to his wife's words and he will go behind the deer in the forest. Now, I am telling you, go behind Rama. In the forest, Sita, like me, will also tell you the same thing, go behind Rama. You make sure that you be with Rama and help him in all situations. Maybe from that futuristic point of view, she's telling. Or the Acharya says, she is telling that in the future, after all this Vanavasa is over and all that, that future is going to be very good because Rama will come back from Vanavasa and he will become Raja, just like Dasharatha now is. When they come back, Sita will become the Rani, like how today I am Rani. And in this Rama's Rajya, even the forest will become like Ayodhya. So maybe she's telling like that. Or it could be that she's, trying to say to Lakshmana. Now she knows that Lakshmana got angry with Dasharatha, right? And she knows that Lakshmana may feel angry with the people of Ayodhya and say that what is this Ayodhya? People here have no respect for Rama and like that. So she's trying to tell Lakshmana that don't be angry with Dasharatha. Don't be angry with me. Don't be angry with Ayodhya. Just as you respect Rama, respect Dasharatha. Just as you respect Sita, respect me. And just as you respect the forest where Rama and Sita are going to be with you, you give the same respect to Ayodhya. It could be that she's telling like this. But the most supreme explanation that Perivachan Pillai has given is the sixth one, where his explanation is based from the bhakti point of view. And he says that Rama, Sriman Narayana, is your father. You remember we said that Sumitra has Brahma Jnana. She knows the real identity of Rama. And that is why she's telling Lakshmana that this Rama is none other than Sriman Narayana. And therefore, he is your supreme father. This Sita is none other than Mahalakshmi. And she is your supreme mother. You forget all other worldly relations. This Sriman Narayana is your father, this Mahalakshmi is your mother, and whichever place they are residing it, that is the Punya Kshetra for you. That itself is Ayodhya. Whether they are in Ayodhya or they are in the forest, the place where this divine mother and father are there, the supreme mother and father are there with you, that is the Punya Kshetra, and you worship them and that Kshetra also. And why is it that she is telling like this? Because in the shloka, we know that she is saying, Ramam Dasharadam Vidhi, Mam Vidhi Janakatmaja, right? So what she's trying to say here is that Dasharatha. Now Dasharatha is the name for the king, but we can also say that this word Dasha is another word for bird, and Ratha means chariot. So somebody who has the bird as a chariot can also be called Dasharatha. And who is it that has the bird as the chariot? Garuda is the bird. And which is that chariot of Garuda? Who sits on that? It is Lord Sriman Narayana. And when she's saying Mam Vidhi Janakatmaja, Ma is mother. It refers to Mahalakshmi. So that Mahalakshmi is your mother. So Rama is Sriman Narayana, Sita is Mahalakshmi. Wherever they are residing, that is Punya Kshetra. And what is your role there? You serve them and you will be happy. Gacchata sukham. She says that, right? So whatever you do to serve them, then by serving them only, you can truly be happy in this world. This is the viewpoint that this mother, Sumitra, is giving to her son. Now, even in the Tulsi Ramcharitmanas, there are lot of, dohas, many of these verses, which tell that how is the Sumitra's bhava towards her son going to Vanavasa. So she tells him that wherever Rama is, that is where Ayodhya is, that is where the sun is. And if Sita and Rama are going to the forest, then what is there for you in this Ayodhya? You have to go behind with them. Go with them and make use of this opportunity to serve them. That is the biggest purpose for which somebody is alive in this world. Then she says further that, oh my dear son, you are fortunate, and I am also fortunate that our heart has pure love for the lotus feet of Rama. Then, in fact, she goes so far as to say, rather than have a child who has no devotion for Rama, it's better to have no child only. But I am blessed because I have a child who is having so much devotion for Rama. There is no bigger blessing, there is no bigger punya other than devotion, bhakti to the lotus feet of Sita Rama. Then further she says that you know why Rama is going to the forest, why all this Vanavas and everything has happened. Because it is your fate. She's telling Lakshmana, it is your fate that Rama is going to the forest. So this is your opportunity to do punya, to serve Sita Rama and get their blessings. For your benefit only, this has happened, she's telling. Can we even imagine a mother like this? What bhava she has, right? So, out of all these things now, what is it that we can learn? First, we talked about how an Uttama Purusha is. That Uttama Purusha is somebody who doesn't mind taking trouble upon himself if it is going to be beneficial for other people. That is an Uttama Purusha. So, whenever we are faced with a choice that either we put other people down or we just follow live and let live, or we do some sacrifice so that other people have a good experience, even if it is little discomfort for me, we can try to cultivate that quality of an Uttama Purusha. Then, whatever Sumantra told, that honey does not ooze out from the neem tree. So, many times we think that, okay, if the mother is like that, the daughter will be like that, or the father is like that, the son will be like that. Parents are one way, then the children will be that way. Because of this common logic, right? We say that honey doesn't ooze out from the neem tree. So, whatever is in the mother, that same thing, whatever is in the parents, will come into the children. But always it need not be completely true. If we are aware of certain things which are not so good in one particular individual, that the children of those people can always try to overcome that. Everything is not always about heredity and about genetics, right? The environment in which we are nurtured, the kind of qualities we try to adopt, the kind of change we try to bring about in ourselves, that also can work wonders. So we must not be many times we don't make changes in our nature because we think that, okay, my parents are like that, then I'm bound to be like this. No, that is not necessary. We have to make efforts to try and change ourselves for the better, no matter what our background is, right? And this Sumitra, she was such a great jnani. What was, why she is called Vedanta Jnani? Because she knew the complete true Vedanta. What is that? That who is Rama and Sita? And what is the purpose of life? To do seva to them. She taught her children, both of them. She got two children, right? So she dedicated Lakshmana to service of Rama, to service of Bhagavan. And she dedicated Shatrughna to service of Bharata, who is the Bhagavata, the devotee of the Lord. So both her children, she must have brought. See, today if Lakshmana is at this stage where he is inseparable from the Lord, then Sumitra, the way she has brought them up from childhood, has played an important role in that, isn't it? So, just like Sumitra taught her children that the true parents are actually Sita and Rama, can we also try and learn this? Can we try to adopt in our lives? Can we try to teach this to our children also? In the Ramaraksha Stotra, there is one very famous shloka which says, Mata Ramo Matpita Ramachandraha Swami Ramo Matsakha Ramachandraha Sarvaswam me Ramachandro Dayalu Nanyam Jane Naiva Jane Na Jane. So, Mata Ramo, Matpita Ramachandra. This Rama is my mother. This Ramachandra is my father. He is my Swami. He is my friend, right? He is everything for me. Sarvasvam is for me this compassionate Rama. And Nanyam Jane, Naiva Jane, Na Jane. I don't know any other. I don't know any other. I don't know any other person in my life. So, of course, we are living in this samsara. We have relations all around us. We have parents, we have children, we have spouses, we have siblings, we have an extended family, we have lots of relations. But who is the true and everlasting father and mother and relation for us and friend for us? It is Sita Rama. So that is what we need to remember throughout our life. All other relations in this world, they will come, they will go. They will be there today, they may not be there tomorrow. They may do good to us at one point of time, they may do bad to us at another point of time. But Lord and Devi, our divine parents, they are always there for us. Not only in this Janma, they are there through so many Janmas that we have taken, isn't it? If it was that worldly relations, people will protect us and take care of us always, all the time, then why did Hiranyakashipu try to kill his own son Prahlada? Isn't it? Why did Ravana banish his own brother Vibhishana? Right? Why couldn't the Pandavas protect Draupadi from the evil hands of Dushasana? Worldly relations are there, but they are not the true relation. The real and only permanent relationship we have is with the Lord and Devi. So, the mother and father, the eternal mother and father, they have been watching over us through all the janmas that we have had, all the lives that we have taken, whether it is human janma, whether it is animal janma, in as an inanimate object, whatever it may be, they have been constantly watching over us. And all they are waiting is for us to surrender to them and say that we want to be at their lotus feet. So let us have this bhava that Sumitra taught to her children. Let us pray that the Lord will bless us to adopt this bhava of Sumitra. We can express gratitude that we got to hear of this great lady who is such a great jnani that she was able to recognize the real identity of Rama and Sita, and she taught that bhava to her children also. And let us pray that the Lord's blessings will enable us to also develop this same attitude. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunabdhaye Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Veda Vedanta Vedyaya Meghashyamalamurtaye Pumsam Mohana Rupaya Punyashlokaya Mangalam Pitrabhaktaya Satatam Bhratrabhisa Sitaya Nandita Kila Lokaya Ramabhadraya Mangalam Srimate Raghuviraya Setu Langita Sindhave Jitarakshasarajaya रणधीराय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलाशासनपरैर्मदाचार्यपुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्. Thank you, everybody, and we will meet again tomorrow with the next thing of what happens in this story. Namaskaram.